And on this day, where we'd like to begin is we'd like to speak about this topic of grief. Grief. Each and every one of you listening to this broadcast will experience this emotion or this energy or this feeling tone of grief at some point in your human experience. And so it's an important subject to address and discuss. What we wish to first say about grief is that we wish to point out that this emotion, this feeling tone that you experience as grief is directly associated with the perception of loss. So your human aspect perceives that it has lost something. It could be a person, it could be an animal, it could be a place, it could be a possession, it could be a moment in time where you perceive that something has been lost. And so in connection with that perception, you experience this feeling tone, this vibration that you would describe as grief. What we wish to also point out, and we feel that you will feel this in the core of your being, is that within the higher realms, so within the realm of your higher self, your guides, your guardians, within the realm where we dwell, there is no perception of loss because there is no perception of separation. There needs to be a perception of separation in order to also have that perception of loss. But in the higher realms, where everything is experienced as interconnected and not separate, there is never any perception of loss. And so another way of describing that is that your higher self, your soul self, the essence of who you are, never feels this emotion that you describe of as grief, because there is no loss, there is no separation. Now, that doesn't mean that there is anything wrong with your human avatar feeling this emotion of grief. Of course, there is this illusion of loss, this illusion of separation. That is true. And so, of course, you experience that, and then you experience the vibrational results of that in your energy body, which is grief. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is part of the human experience. But in order to truly heal grief, in order to move through it, in order to come out the other side and feel reconnected with your soul self, your higher self, with source, with the universe, we wish to bring through some words and some perceptions that will help you in that process. And one of the perceptions is this, that your higher self does not experience grief. So one way to bring healing to the part of yourself that is experiencing that vibration is to, while you're experiencing that vibration, you can start to tune in to the higher aspect of who you truly are, to tune into that energy, that vibration, that source self, that authentic self. As you begin to focus on that as your authentic self and your truest emanation or vibration of who you are, that energy field begins to merge and integrate with the aspect of you that is experiencing this loss. And so we don't wish at all to invalidate that experience of loss, not at all. Of course, you are experiencing that loss and it feels very real, but there will come a point in time where there's an impetus or a drive to move forward and heal that sensation of loss. And this is how you do it. You begin to tune in to the aspect of yourself that never experienced the loss in the first place, that never experienced that sensation of grief, because it is still aware that whatever it is that you perceive, your human construct perceives that it has lost, the higher self still knows that it is very much connected with whatever that is, whether it's a person, a pet, a memory, a moment in time, a place. And now what's interesting is that Karen this week had a dream. And in the dream, she experienced herself as living in a different house than she now lives in. And in the dream, she felt so much grief and so much loss because she very much loves this house that she now lives in. And so in the dream, there was a feeling of grief. There was a feeling of loss that she no longer lived in this place that she loves so much. So you can imagine her deep appreciation and gratitude when she woke up from the dream and realized she was still in the house that she momentarily had experienced separation from. And so we tell you that story because there will be a moment in time in your experience where you wake up and you realize that whatever you are feeling that you have lost, you never, ever lost in the first place. You are still very much connected to, let's say, that being or that animal, that person, that place, even that memory. So some of you feel grief because you feel that a certain point in time has passed you by and you miss that moment in time. What we wish to say about that type of grief is that all moments in time are still very much alive and active within the energy field or the akasha. We spoke about this last time. Within the fabric of the universe, every moment of time is still very much alive and vibrant and active, and you can tune into those moments, re-experience those moments, those energies at any point in time. And so nothing has been lost. You are still connected with everyone, everything. And now in terms of the people, individuals, even the animals that you perceive you have lost, again, there is no separation. There are other realms, other dimensions of reality where your loved ones are still vibrant and alive and active, and they can interact with you. What we would say about that is that we acknowledge that what you would call the spirit world is very much like a one-way mirror, where an individual can see through the mirror and see the being on the other side, but it is very difficult for that being to see through the mirror. And so it is a one-way interaction that is very much like the quote-unquote spirit world where your loved ones go when they make their transition. It is much easier for them to see and sense and interact with you than vice versa, than you with them. Until, of course, you begin to shift your state of being and shift your resonance and shift your vibration into a place of alignment with these other realms. And then it becomes much easier and it becomes much more interactive. What we wish to say about that is that the vibrational state of grief can make it very difficult for you to reach the level of resonance where there is an interaction. Why? Because the vibrational state of grief is a lower frequency than the spirit world where your loved ones dwell. So there is a mismatch of energy, and it makes it very hard when you are in grief to interact with those of a higher frequency. And so this is yet another reason why we recommend that you consider this methodology of healing where you start to bring the energy, the frequency, the vibration of your higher self down to integrate with the human aspect of you that is feeling the loss. That will start to shift and heal and up-level your vibration so that you come into contact with those that you perceive, emphasis on that word perceive, that you perceive you have lost. That will shift you into resonance. And then when you begin to have interactions with those beings again, it will reinforce the fact that you didn't lose them. Perhaps your relationship is now different. Perhaps the way that you communicate is now different. We wish for you to know, though, that even though there has been a change in your relationship, that interacting with those that you love and have loved in your physical incarnation can be even more fulfilling than your physical interaction here in your physical life. And the reason why that is because when one makes their transition into what you would call the spirit world, many of those mental constructs that have been blocking communication and preventing you from connecting deeply with that one, many of those constructs are eradicated through this transition, what you would call the death experience. All these mental constructs that may have been inhibiting your communication and your relationship are eradicated as they step through into that other dimension. And so your relationship can be much more fulfilling, much closer, as you begin to interact without all of those blocks of the mental construct. So know that your relationship is evolving as you go through this process. You have not lost that being, that person. What's happening is that your relationship has evolved. And the fact that they are in another dimension and that they still wish to commune with you and have a relationship with you means that you must evolve to meet them in that vibrational state. One of the reasons that you are here on the planet is evolution. So there is a great desire within your soul at all times to evolve, which means to move closer into harmony with your soul self. So what greater excuse than this deep desire within your heart to maintain a relationship with one that you perceive that you have lost? And how beautiful is it that you have a new opportunity to create a relationship where all of those mental constructs have dissolved and there is a new purity about the relationship. This is your opportunity to those of you who are in these moments experiencing grief. And this is your opportunity for all those listening. Because as we said right from the beginning, each and every one of you will experience this vibration, this feeling tone of grief at some point in your human experience. At some point in your human experience, you will experience the perception that you have lost something. Know that this is a perception, not the truth. It's a perception of this realm. There is a way to heal even the deepest, darkest, most uncomfortable vibrational frequencies that you experience as emotion by starting to draw down that higher frequency, that light being that you are, down into your physical counterpart and beginning to integrate and merge those two aspects of yourself as one.